Everybody. As a reminder, this is a public meeting that's being recorded, so please keep yourself muted. Feel free to raise your hand throughout today's discussion if you have any questions. We will have a public open forum at 10:25 if we have any members from the general public that want to speak to the advisory committee. As a reminder, also we will not be monitoring the chat, so if you have any questions, again, feel free to raise your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into today's roll call. So do we have Senator Matt Banky? Senator Claire Wilson? Good morning.
I'm here. I'm not sure if you're asking for a response. I just jumped on. Sorry.
Great. Good morning. Representative Dan Griffey? Okay. Representative Mary Fossey?
Here.
Chris Elwell, we have here in person. Good morning, Chris. Good morning. David Aiken.
Hello.
Good morning, David. Thanks for being here. Dr. Faith Lutz.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome. Karen Dove. Lauren Taylor, good morning. We have Ms. Taylor here in person with us. Mariana Talbot.
Hi, you present?
Good morning. Mina Long. Okay, and Terry Fortner.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Terry. Okay, again, this is the first quarter meeting for the CI Advisory Committee for 2024, and we're excited to have a full committee. All positions and seats are filled. So with that, I will turn it over to Deputy Secretary Sean Murphy.
Thanks, Jamie. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. I think it's, well, first and foremost, a very busy ledge session as we come into this meeting that we've just completed. And I want to thank all the legislators for their very, very tireless work and sometimes thankless work to get great legislation put out in front of everyone and to be able to fund everything that is needed to the extent possible. So thank you for all that work. And I also want to thank the Correctional Industries Advisory Committee folks for their participation in what essentially helps us shape brighter futures for the incarcerated that are in our care and custody for tomorrow, giving folks the knowledge, skills, and abilities to improve their chances of successful reentry going back out into the community. I also want to thank the Jamie Dolan and her team for putting this together and continuing to improve operations for our correctional industry. So that said, thank you, Jamie, back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we have Assistant Secretary of Reentry, Danielle Armbruster.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the meeting today. I think we have a lot of positive updates and really thinking about how we continue to support individuals as they transition back out into the community. I had the chance to meet with our corporate management team yesterday of CI, and it was great to just hear the innovative ideas, the things that they're thinking about, continuing to think about how we connect education and correctional industries to help individuals have that continuum of care. I will say, like Deputy Secretary Sean Murphy said, it was a busy legislative session. I think we have a lot of great outcomes, especially for the Reentry Division and specifically CI, thinking about how we continue to support individuals when they're in our care and custody. I will say that we have a lot of opportunities to continue to think about how we expand and support correctional industries and ensure that we are thinking about jobs that are living wage jobs for individuals as they transition back out into the community. I know we're going to hear from the workforce development team this morning. So it's not only about the technical job skills, but about the soft skills and the supportive skills that we provide individuals as they move through their time with us. So looking forward to the meeting this morning. I hope we have a lot of good, engaging conversation and think about how we can continue to move CI forward. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to acknowledge and welcome a few new members that we have joining the CI Advisory Committee. So first new member is representing a business seat, and that's David Aiken. Mr. Aiken has an extensive background in corrections, release planning, business management. He's knowledgeable in the process and program developer. He spent over a decade of time working in food manufacturing in the private sector and has a strong lean background. So, you know, I look forward to his knowledge and support that he brings to the committee. Also joining us, filling a general seat, is Dr. Faith Lutz. So Dr. Lutz spent her career at Washington State University studying justice programs. In the past, she worked on a project specifically with correctional industries here in Washington State, and doing research that shows that CI reduces recidivism, improves institutional behavior, increases post-release employment and wages. Her work also has shown that CI staff and incarcerated workers develop positive institutional culture, professional relationships, and which lead to productive work environments. So again, thanks and welcome, Dr. Lutz. Also a new member, which is representing labor, is Mina Long. Mina is a union iron worker who found her path to the trades after graduating from the TRAC program, so the Trades for Latest Apprenticeship program. Throughout her career as an iron worker, she served as a mentor and an advocate to tradespeople, to currently and former incarcerated individuals, and she helped them with apprenticeship recruitment and utilization. After 5 years working in the field as a union iron worker, Mina was offered a position at the Washington State Building and Construction Trades Council as a strategic program manager. So she has a strong role in apprenticeship advocacy and support, which includes programs like our TRAC program at WCCW and Mission Creek, as well as the CTAP program, which is the trades program at the men's institutions. So, and last member for labor is Mariana Hike. So again, Mariana personally works with formerly incarcerated individuals and understands the obstacles in place that support their needs to help change lifestyles, helps with professional growth and access to resources. So Mariana's determination to make sure we help our community build career pathways and work aimlessly in reducing recidivism with the connections to our pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs, community-based organizations, as well as contractors. So again, welcome all of our new members. With that, I do want to open it up if we had any questions on the December 7th division updates or meeting minutes that went out. Okay, with that, can I have a motion to pass the minutes as written?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay. Oh, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, and Bill, thank you. Okay, next I'll move into the division updates, which again, all of this information was sent out prior to today's meeting. We will go through each of our divisions, and if there's any questions from any of the committee members, please don't hesitate to raise your hand and reach out if there's anything that we can answer for you.
Good morning, everybody. Let me start off with Braille Services. So we had an incarcerated senior transcriber that actually created a NAMETH test for math when one hadn't existed previously. The new NAMETH test she created was approved by the National Braille Association and is now available nationally for transcribers to earn certificates on, which is very unique. One of the transcribers earned a Braille format certificate, a National Braille Association certification attesting to a transcriber's ability to properly apply format guidelines to transcription projects. We have hired 3 new Braille transcribers, apprentices, and the goal is to fill additional vacancies and get those new hires certified at the different levels. And most recently, I had the opportunity to meet with one of our senior transcribers that is releasing shortly, and she shared with me that through her work in the Braille program that she's been able to pay off all restitution, LFOs, obtain her business license and all equipment needed, and she plans to continue utilizing the skills that she's earned to have a career out in the community as she transitions. She's very excited about that. Little moment of success. Computer-aided design services, also at WCCW. Pretty awesome opportunity we had. We're in the process of doing a remodel, update of our reception area and also Sarah Goff's area back in our admin area. And so we decided to have a friendly competition amongst our participants out at WCCW in designing that space. And so through a friendly competition, each drafter submitted a draft packet with their idea for the best use of the space and what products. And our newest drafter won that challenge. And so her designs were chosen and will be installed in 2 spaces. We're hoping they'll be completed in the next few months. And we'll be commissioning a plaque that will acknowledge her contributions as well as the other participants that were part of that competition.
That's exciting.
Yeah, kind of neat.
Okay, so for the construction trades, Steve Peterman unfortunately is at a conference today, so couldn't be here, but did want to share that during this first quarter, 113 flagger certificates were issued, and those classes were held at OCC as well as Stafford Creek Correction Center. In addition to that, 13 incarcerated students at the Washington Correction Center for Women graduated in October from the AJAC, which is our manufacturing program with AJAC, of course. And so that's exciting. In addition to that, just this week, had a wonderful opportunity to go out to WCCW. We did have another graduation track, class 66. One of the participants was actually releasing the next day. It was the first one in a while where a lot of the friends and family got to come and celebrate the achievements of the women. And it's just a really moving moment. We had a lot of the trades there to support the women as well, and just their encouragement, the iron workers, the carpenters, which is just a great opportunity and support from the local community for that event.
If I could just add something, Jamie, if we could send out the dates of the next track graduation to the advisory council, it would be lovely if you were able to attend. It's in Gig Harbor. I know I've attended many of them throughout the years, and bring your tissues because it's just a moment of pure enjoyment to see the success of these individuals, and sometimes the first time they've ever graduated or had something that they've accomplished, and their friends and their family and their kids are there. So I'd encourage you all to attend if you're able.
Okay, so food manufacturing. Again, food manufacturing just continues to focus on lean process improvements. They are in full preparation of our food manufacturing plant. They're going through a pretty significant construction project, actually, that's going to kick off here in the next few weeks. The scullery, which is a commercial dish pit area, and cart washer, we're doing a full system replacement of those. All of those systems are about 25 years old, and again, with water and rust and continual use, it's past its useful life. So with that, in a manufacturing process, there's a lot of prep work that leads into that in terms of buildup of inventory. I know they're working closely with the incarcerated individuals on the soft skills training, getting them through the Making It Work program. And I know a little bit later in today's meeting, we'll hear an update on our significant IT project, D365, Dynamics 365. Food manufacturing is slated to be the next line of business rollout, which again is a significant change to the work that the staff and the incarcerated do. And so there's a lot of preparation leading up to that. And then in addition to that, our food manufacturing operation also prepares the food for Ramadan. It follows all of the halal processes, but again, we have pretty significant participation from Department of Corrections on that. So there's been a lot of prep to support food services from food manufacturing. So with food services, this this quarter, our food service admin team focused on getting out to the sites, visiting and working with the facility food service managers. The Department of Corrections new state dietitian was able to go out and do some site visits with them. Again, they just continue to review processes and support for the institutional staff. Again, from a food service standpoint, Passover, it's a really significant event for the Department of Corrections. This year we have 2,600 participants statewide for the event, and there's a lot of regulations that come with that, and so it's a pretty significant impact to the workload of food services, ensuring that we have the appropriate food on site and that we're following appropriate protocols for that service. So that's about 21% of the prison population that's participating in food service Passover.
Okay, furniture brand and sales. So we introduced 2 new flagship seating lines to replace legacy lines that we were experiencing supply chain issues with. We've updated and published out updates for pricing for our residential living wood product. And we've reestablished on-site monthly meetings between the manufacturing site at Stafford Creek and the sales group to hopefully improve communication about sales orders, where orders are at, what's being made, and also new product development. And if you have an opportunity to come here to CI headquarters, you'll see that we've gone through all of our demo chair offerings and have updated those with the latest fabrics, finishes, and options available to our customers. So furniture manufacturing, located at Stafford Creek. We've been able to fill all of our staff positions down there. I think it's the first time in several years that we've had all of our staff vacancies filled, which is great because those staff will be able to have more direct interaction and coaching and mentoring and training for our incarcerated. We've developed 3 new projects for cabinet casework orders. We're hoping and we're piloting cabinetry work as potentially a future product line for us. It's something we haven't done in the past. We've been fortunate enough to have some support in replacing some of our outdated and aged equipment and a new CNC router and edge bander, excuse me. We've had a load study completed on them, and we're finalizing installation of those with our facility engineering department. We are having some struggles in our metal shop right now, and training is a priority. We, fortunately, some of our more qualified and trained operators were released back in the community, but this has caused us to need to kind of go back and do some retraining and refreshing with the individuals that are replacing those workers. So we're working with some outside vendors to come in to provide training on specific equipment such as the CNC turret and CNC bending machines. And hopefully we can get back to the level of consistency and quality that we were experiencing prior.
All right, good morning, everyone. Incarcerated Individual Services. The commissary I'll report on first. Commissary has seen about a 30% increase in the size of orders, and this is a result. We talked previously in the last meeting about Senate Bill 5131, which created a debt-free commissary sub-account. So in addition to that, we had some increased pay for class 2 and 3 workers. So between those two things, we've seen about a 30% increase in the past several months in the size of commissary orders. This increase has not impacted any delivery or production, so we've been able to continue and meet all of our scheduled deliveries and timelines. So that has been really well managed by the teams, and we haven't had any inventory issues that were related to any increase in sales either. The fulfillment of Cedar Creek's commissary has transitioned from Airway Heights to Monroe. So this opened up some more capacity of the transportation fleet at Airway Heights and provided sort of just a balance to the amount of production coming out of both the Airway and the Monroe facilities. So no change to anything for the individuals at Cedar Creek. Their orders are just coming from this side of the mountains versus the other. And then one of our focus areas over the last several months has been just reviewing the production and distribution schedules. The agency has been reopening some units at some of the facilities, so that requires us to do a little bit of adjusting to make sure that we're adding them to the schedule appropriately and meeting all of the requirements as far as the number of deliveries per month and all of those. So that's been an ongoing effort over the past several months of the agency reopens these new units, or these existing units. That's all for commercial services.
Thank you, Lindsay. Todd Cunnington, one of my areas of responsibility are in laundry, and I'm happy to report that we've been able to procure 12 pieces of replacement equipment this year for our laundries around the state. In the picture being shown, that just took place yesterday, replacement dryers out at Olympic Correction Center. So a lot of activity in each of the laundries in regards to their equipment this year. The teams are doing an outstanding job in regards to preventative maintenance, developing their workers and providing laundry services that are so critical to having a well-operated facility. Sometimes work that's maybe overseen or overlooked or taken for granted, but it's definitely critical to each of the facilities that we do service at. Another area of responsibility I have oversight for is license plates and tabs for the state. And we are in the final stages of getting our new license plate shop open at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. Just as a reminder, we are moving to a different location at the penitentiary, mainly due to aged and failing equipment and having a lower worker availability in the particular area that the old plant is at. The new area will give us the opportunity to have more incarcerated workers within our program, working on industry-leading machinery as well. So very excited about that. We expect the final building and labor and industry permitting to be done by the end of this month, and then be able to fully open the shop. In the meantime, staff and the incarcerated workers have had the opportunity to do some training there. Also do some maintenance on the equipment to make sure that it continues to be used until we're ready to go into full production. Our tab shop at the Monroe Correctional Complex continues to fulfill tab orders for the Department of Licensing. We have had some challenges there with workers as well, but they're doing a good job of working and collaborating with the facility to try to meet those worker needs and continue to provide tabs on time to the Department of Licensing. Thank you.
Okay, McNeil Island Stewardship. As the stewardship focuses on preventive maintenance and repair and extending longevity of the operations, equipment, system, they were able to complete several projects in the last quarter of 2023, including an upgrade to a lift pump station, full conversion to LED lights along the McNeil Island dock, allowing for more visibility, safety, security for staff, and a replacement engine for the marine vessel McNeil. They also submitted a grant package in October for a feasibility study to turn our wastewater treatment plant and outfall into a large on-site sewage system, otherwise known as a LOS. And so we hope to hear to see if we've been awarded that soon, as that will reduce any likelihood of unintentional outflow contaminants out into the sound.
Good morning, everyone. Vicki Hoffman out of Eastern Washington. I have oversight out of Airway Heights, the optical division. Over the last quarter, we brought on another licensed obstetrician, sorry. And bringing our staffing model up to 4 licensed providers. So, and then recently we completed our new frame catalog. It's a 30-page catalog. You can see some of the new styles up on the screen there. It is available on our CI website. It brought on board 51 new frames, which created a variety of 150 new styles and colors for our clients. And then also in that transition, our incarcerated individuals also did an amazing job with building up the new stock and then also lowering inventory of some of our discontinued frames. So we're not left with any excess, discontinued items when we launch the new versions here at the beginning of the year. So next quarter, the main focus is remote order entry. We're in the final test stage right now to move forward with an online ordering system for our client base, which will actually help with our clients receiving the services that they need. And then excited to see that we will have in June our CI optical showroom open up here at CI headquarters. The official grand opening is June 6th, so hopefully some of you will be able to come and participate.
Senator Wilson, you have a question?
I do. I had no idea that there's optical. And my question, I may have missed it, is who, I see that it's through HCA, but who actually orders and who gets the benefit of these children and adult glasses? And if that's something you just need to send to me, I'd love to know a little bit more. I absolutely had no idea. And I'd also love to know where this is happening.
Well, we actually have clients through Healthcare Authority, and then also,
Yeah, so the optical lab is physically located at Airway Heights Correction Center.
Okay.
So
Okay.
long-term minimum and medium custody incarcerated individuals that are working in the lab. And so they do all of the lenses and add them to the frames for HCA, but we also have other customers throughout the state of Washington.
So when you say through HCA, then would it be individuals who are on our state plans that are ordering glasses would be ordering them? So they're statewide. It doesn't just go to incarcerated or individuals. These are okay. I just am trying to figure out who are the customers that we're doing the work for. Because again, I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's all the individual labs throughout the state of Washington that take the HCA benefits, and so the individuals going to those private labs needing, optical spectrum glasses, so that are the receiving customers.
Thanks. Appreciate the info.
You said June 6th?
June 6th? Okay.
Yeah, so our next CI Advisory Committee meeting is on June 6th, and so just after that, we're going to do the official, just kind of opening of the showroom. It is, you guys can see it today, you can't be here in person, but yeah.
You have to wait.
And we would be more than happy to send out you the material.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. Our next section is on safety and risk management, and so I would like to publicly acknowledge and recognize Wes Markham, our statewide safety and risk management supervisor, as well as the different safety coordinators and leaders for CI at each of the facilities. They've done great work reinstilling safety culture mindset in our operations. The safety audit, or we've had safety audits completed for all of the sites in fiscal year 23, and have just restarted now for fiscal year 24, with Monroe being the first facility this year. We have seen a 20% reduction in accidents during the last quarter, and I apologize, Airway Heights was our first safety audit for this fiscal year, and then Coyote Ridge will be next month. I think something mindful that statewide safety is doing is they are not doing their audits during the summertime, being mindful of people's work-life balance, and then they'll pick those back up again in September and continue on through the rest of the calendar year. So that's safety and risk management.
Okay. Service and delivery. So on the furniture installation side, they completed most of the 2023 binding orders for installation for the end of the year, exceeding what we had projected. It did take us a little bit of time to catch up on getting those finalized and installed. just in time for us to start getting busy again with the upcoming cutoff for this year. We have had some staff vacancies over the last couple of years and have to report that we have those all filled, with one in the finalization right now. We do continue to have some struggles with filling some of our incarcerated worker positions, just with competing needs out of Cedar Creek with DNR and the facility needs for support. But Alan Phelps, our general manager here to the left of me, does an amazing job in communicating with Cedar Creek's leadership and getting support and getting those individuals in to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Right, next is textiles. It's been another very busy quarter for textiles in our 5 locations. Just as a reminder, it's the first line of business that we actively transitioned to our new operating system, Microsoft Dynamics 365. And we're working through that program now, and it seems to be going better and better each day with that group. We worked with the Department of Corrections Women's Division regarding gender affirming clothing for our incarcerated population. Also been working with the department on improving officer uniform fulfillment and updating of the uniforms. We're partnering with a number of state agencies providing uniform and safety items as well. And like other vendors, we're working to stay competitive while, we still see increasing costs. I think all of us see increasing costs out there right now. So, it makes it a challenge to be competitive in the environment, but really want to take my hat off to that group of textiles and the wonderful work they're doing.
All right, workforce development. I'm going to give just a brief overview of what's been going on. Next up after this, we have our managers will be talking in more depth about workforce development. So I'm looking forward to sharing that information. Some highlights from recently. As of December, we had cognitive coaching, which is the soft skills course, one-day soft skills course for supervisors. CI supervisors. It was 100% completed at WCCW in Cedar Creek and 50% at Monroe and WSP, Washington State Penitentiary, with the goal to have all staff trained by June 30th. So we're well on our way to meeting that goal. Some of our focus areas recently have been continuing outreach with employers in King, Pierce, Spokane, and Thurston counties. We're also looking at opportunities in some other areas. Recently, we've had some good connections down in Kelso and Longview, as well as up north in Snohomish County. Mimi will share some more information on this, but we've got mock interviews and financial literacy are both priorities for our group as well. So more to come on what those 2 activities involve, but we're very excited for workforce development and what the successes that they've seen, that team has seen in the last several months. So very excited about their next adventures.
Okay, so moving on to new business. I just wanted to share an update. I know during last advisories committee meeting, I shared some of the potential new programs that we're looking into for expansion within correctional industries. And one of the main programs still remains what we refer to as the Certified Denture Technician Program. Again, this would be a collaborative partnership between correctional industries, education, and DOC Health Services. So what's occurred since the last time we spoke is we have taken a site visit. We are looking to host the program at Stafford Creek Correction Center. And so we physically several weeks ago went out to look at the space with the engineers, the chief of dentistry, the local dentists from Stafford Creek, as well as the individual from Bates Technical College who actually oversees the Denture Tech program at Bates. So we're really just evaluating the physical plant space because of course it does need utilities such as water, gas, air, electricity to have a program. in the space that we're looking at, previously held construction classes. So it does have all of those utilities. We're also working with the contract state vendor for equipment needs. We're actually scheduled to go out to Bates Technical College next week, again, to meet with them as subject matter experts, because we're in developing the full proposal. Of course, we need to know what type of capital investment we're going to need to retrofit the space, but also initial startup equipment costs. We suspect that it would cost anywhere between $750,000 to potentially, over $1 million to get the project up and running. But again, this program would really dovetail that connection between education and correctional industries, where an initial cohort of individuals would begin their education pathway towards an associate degree from Bates Technical College, and then they'll continue the learning while working in the CI manufacturing operation, producing dentures for health services, so for the individuals in our care and custody. So again, we're still, I wouldn't say that the infancy of development of a program, but there's still a lot of fact finding and specifics in terms of capital investments, funding, timeline. But it's a program that a lot of people, to include education and health services, are very much on board in the continued development of. So just wanted to pause there and see if there was any questions from anybody about that program.
So would this be similar to the optical program, where the services are provided to the public in addition to the incarcerated?
So initially, our goal would be to get the program up and running and truly just serve the individuals in our care and custody. So, and when I say that, initially just those in total confinement, which the population is about 12,000 statewide. And I'm learning a lot about dentures, and they refer to them as cases. So health services, I think, does about 2,000 cases a year. And right now they're sending those out to a private sector vendor to do that work. And some of the challenges that come with that is because a denturist only comes on site once a month at the institutions. It could be a month or two before an individual receives their dentures. And if you have dentition issues and chewing, that could impact individuals. And with this program, there's also a significant cost savings to the state, to the department, if we're able to produce them in-house. So initially, our goal would just to get the program up and running, to get individuals the skills, the training to be able to serve those within DOC.
Okay,
So,
great. Thank you.
yeah. And then also wanted to share with the committee, so the CI Advisory Committee, historically, years ago, was an advisory, a policy board for quite some time now. We've been an advisory committee. In going through some of the past material, I've recognized that the committee guidelines haven't been updated in over a decade, and so that's a project that we're looking to just update. So we've pulled the old guidelines, and we're just going to update them, and certainly appreciate any member participation. So we'll send those out after today's meeting, just for your guys' review and input. Because again, we want to make sure that everybody's finding value in the meetings, and that we're all supporting the mission of what the CI Advisory Committee is. So again, after today's meeting, we'll send out some updated guidelines and seek input on again how we can ensure that it's a collaborative, productive time for everybody.
So briefly, in regards to our financials for this fiscal year through December, we are seeing revenues right in line with last year and a little ahead of what we forecasted. Like most businesses, and like I just spoke about with textiles, we have seen and continue to experience increase in cost of goods sold, especially in the direction of raw materials, with price increases there. Our operations are all doing a fantastic job of continuing to keep their operation costs in line, and And so as of December, we're showing a net loss of $2.3 million. However, we do see the opportunity for this last half of our fiscal year to offset that with sales and other revenue during the last half. So we're pretty much right in line with where we've normally been at in regards to how business is performing right now. So looking forward to the second half of the year. I didn't know if there's any questions on any of that. And I know I just spoke of,
Can I just jump in just quickly? Can you just explain to the committee or the council that it's about covering our costs and not necessarily increasing our revenues, but ensuring we cover our costs, but the ultimate goal is the programs and services for the population.
Absolutely. So unlike traditional businesses, we're not looking to make a large profit, and we don't have to look towards providing dividends or investor payback and things like that. We're not beholden to that, but we are beholden to be a break-even operation where we cover all of our costs, and including any upgrades that we want to do or any new programming that we want to get into. We need to be able to cover those costs. I believe that we've done a really good job, especially over the last couple of years, of really evaluating our different businesses. And if it didn't make sense to continue doing that, we stopped doing certain programs and putting out those costs when they wouldn't generate enough to support themselves. And that's really what we're trying to do, is support ourselves. And at times it makes it a little difficult because as we've seen, just increasing costs, increasing labor costs, raw materials, consumables, all of those things, it does make it very challenging, the environment that we have to work in. So I, again, just tip my hat to all of our operators out there that are doing everything they can to try to keep us in the positive, to again, once invest in our program and continue being a nationwide leader, not to toot our own horn, but to be a leader and doing correctional industries programs in our state.
Yeah, because I think as a reminder, correctional industries, we have a revolving fund. So we receive a small appropriation just for some back office functions, but the lion's share of our line of business, all of the staff salaries, the incarcerated labor, the purchasing of raw materials, the only way we can cover those expenses is from the sale of our goods and services. Now, we have taken strategies, for example, food services, that's just a break even, net zero, that's the goal. Incarcerated services, which is our commissary program, the goal of that is a net zero, that if at the end of the fiscal year, we came out and, $0, that's perfect, because truly that program exists to support the incarcerated population. There's no intent to charge above and beyond what it costs to deliver, to buy the equipment, and to buy the food for the incarcerated. And so that really challenges our other divisions, such as textiles, optical, furniture, to generate enough revenue to, again, cover the expenses, which is staff salaries, our incarcerated labor, and then as Todd alluded to, equipment. This year, equipment replacement, it's pretty significant. You heard me speak a little earlier about our project at Airway Heights Food Manufacturing, just to replace a dish machine as well as a cart washer, which is another small dish machine, for lack of better terms. You have to tear up the floors, and that's about a $500,000 project. But again, that equipment's antiquated and over 25 years old. So, I think it's important to recognize too, based on CI's revenue, we're larger than 91 of the 126 state agencies, and we're one of only a couple that don't receive that appropriated funding to cover those expenses. So it's a really unique program and the fact that really our sole focus isn't, we don't exist because we want to manufacture products, right? We exist because we want to create programming opportunities for the incarcerated individuals that are in the care and custody. And we're doing that through these work training programs to provide them with the skills, whether that's the technical skills or the soft skills that we're going to hear some updates on from our workforce development about. You know, and with being in manufacturing, of course, there's always those challenges that we experience. For example, food manufacturing, over the last couple weeks, you know, you have one lost tool in a corrections environment. In a normal public sector, not a big deal. In a corrections environment, when a knife goes missing, you stop all operations. And what does stopping operations do? You can't produce. And so again, it does throw off what we're able to accomplish. It throws off our ability to program individuals. So it's just unique challenges that that we experience while running our operations. So I know we have some new members, so I just wanted to share some of that with some of those on the phone, just so that they could understand a little bit more about our programs. Thank you. Yeah.
So on that, you know, you identified a couple of programs that produce things for sale.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole other category of programs that don't, that are just there for skill development. Track, for example, AJAC, those.
Yeah.
When you're making like budgetary decisions about program viability, how do you take those things into account? Because I mean, like, I'm most familiar with the track program. We have a number of track graduates that have come out and worked on Sound Transit projects, and it is wildly successful, but yet doesn't turn a profit.
Right.
So would be considered a, you know, kind of a, look from a strictly budgetary standpoint, you know, kind of a loss.
Yeah.
So how do you make that analysis on, you know, how do we continue to carry these loss programs when we're reaching an environment where we're not able to, you know, fully capitalize on furniture or other things?
No, I think that's a great question. And you basically alluded to all of the types of conversations that we talk about internally, but that we also want to share externally. You know, our goal is to get individuals ready for post-release employment opportunities and to be better, you know, citizens post-release. And so, you know, we evaluate what skill set are we teaching, whether that's hard skills. I mean, in the furniture factory, there's very technical skills, CNCs, machine operating, welding, you know, that are truly transferable and relatable. When our workforce development team is out speaking with the local community, you know, years ago, the question was like, well, what do you want? And at the time it was technical skills. We want technical skills. Now we're hearing, we just want somebody with soft skills. We can train on the technical skills. So there's, you know, and I'm sure the pendulum will continue to swing on that. But internally, we, you know, the track program you spoke about, we recognize that program does wonderful transformative things for an individual while they're incarcerated, but also the post-release employment opportunities for those individuals has been, as you stated, it's been highly successful. And so in no way, shape, or form do we ever want to take away any type of opportunity because of financial instability. And so, you know, we evaluate things like where can we consolidate, and so we have done that over the last couple of years. For example, Column Bay Correction Center, we had a small textiles operation, and financially every year it was running a couple $100,000 in the red. You know, the transportation up to Column Bay was challenging, the ability to get individuals to even program, and so, you know, and then looking at the skill set of those individuals, what they were gaining, you know, we could consolidate some of our other textile shops to maintain that work. And so, you know, the decision was made to close that as an example. And so, you know, we have great collaboration internally with DOC on ways that that we can support one another and within the reentry division as a whole. So it's a great question, and you know, our goal is to continue to find ways to partner with education. So for the track program, as an example, you know, seeking grant funding, whether that's you know, through external partnerships like AJAC, to develop those types of programs, seeking partnerships with other state agencies on different certifications like Department of Transportation. That's the path that we see moving forward.
I'll just add to that quickly, specific to the track program. So that's a partnership with Education and CI. So Education funds like the instructors, and CI funds part of the goods and services that we need to support the program. And then we're also looking at, so we have the construction trades apprenticeship programs in the Mayo facilities, and looking at best practices with the track program and the connection with CI, and how we can continue to enhance the opportunities for the Mayo facilities. Some of our CTAP programs have been shut down just because we're struggling to hire instructors. So if anybody knows any construction trades instructors, we need them. We need one at Monroe actually right now. And so just continuing, like I said at the beginning of the meeting, to think about how we can continue to partner with Education and CI and our workforce development groups, and then the navigator groups. Lily's here today. She's been a long time supporter of the navigator group, and thinking about how it's not just about the technical skills that somebody's receiving, but how do we have that support? And unfortunately, the department, we have navigators throughout the department, but we don't have enough navigators for every single individual that's going back out into the community. And so thinking about how we can continue to expand that program, not only within CI, but within the department with reentry and health services and prisons, to continue that continuum. Does that answer your question?
It really does, and I appreciate the kind of the deep dive into this. You know, one of my concerns in hearing some of the financial pressures that this program is under is that it's going to cause some cannibalization of these programs that are not making a profit or breaking even.
Covering their expenses.
Covering their expenses, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, and so, recognizing the amazing work that all of these programs do for the incarcerated individuals when they do get released out back to the community, giving them the job skills that they can, change their lives. I mean, there was an amazing article in the Seattle Times in January, about, again, a track graduate, but it stands to say that all of, having the skills coming out of the facilities, really does transform lives. And I'd hate to lose programs because you can't monetize that piece of it.
Right.
So Jamie, may I contribute here?
Please,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think one way also to address this on a global way is that I'm not sure when Washington State Institute of Public Policy did their last cost benefit analysis of correctional industries. However, when they have conducted those 2016 based on memory, but it's worth looking at their page, because I think that's how you help make that argument, is that globally CI is beneficial, and for every dollar invested, there's several dollars of benefit to the future. So I think on multiple levels, there's ways to make that argument that not everything is going to necessarily run in the black, but globally, when you think long term, it absolutely does. So I just wanted to contribute that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dr. Lutz. And you're accurate on the 2016, and actually the WISUP is currently in the process of revamping that data. And so Lindsay Conrad, Assistant Director, is working with DOC Research and Data Analytics through Evergreen State College, and they're currently gathering data. And I believe the initial report is due June 2025. Yeah, so it'll be ongoing research for the next year and a half, but they are working to update that. In addition to that, WISUP is also doing another study on the cost of goods and services, and I think specifically kind of focusing on the costs of our commissary program. So that's just a side note for you.
Great questions.
All right, and to update on our license plate, our new license plate shop. So our new equipment is installed and operational, and we have, like I spoke of earlier, ongoing training with staff and workers in there, and that's what some of the pictures represent. Right now, we're working through the fine tuning of the colors and graphics with the Department of Licensing and also the Department of Transportation. Since we're changing systems, we also need to make sure that those meet what the regulations are as far as getting through tolling areas and also with the state patrol. We have been able to do some limited runs in production of regular embossed plates that you see on most cars, and then also the vanity plates as well. We'll continue to use both shop locations until everything is finalized in regards to inspections. And like I spoke of earlier, we do expect those by the end of the month and to hopefully be up and fully operational in the month of April. And I'm happy to report we are planning to do a recognition of the 100-year relationship between the Department of Licensing and the Department of Corrections and CI in the production of license plates. So July 31st at the Washington State Penitentiary will.
In 120-degree weather.
One nice thing with this upgrade is where it's moving to, we will have air conditioning in that area as well, where we did not in the other plant. So.
All right, an update on our business-led transformation project, also known as D365 or Microsoft Dynamics 365. For some of our new members, this has been a multi-year endeavor. Upgrading our current ERP system, Enterprise Resource Planning System, Great Plains 8 and Great Plains 10 into Microsoft Dynamics D365. As Todd and Jamie mentioned earlier, we're really excited. Over the last quarter, we have been working on the data migration for moving data out of the old system into the new system. Just this week alone, we started on food manufacturing. We had our official kickoff for food manufacturing on Monday to get those users in that division engaged in the kickoff and learning process into the system. And then also this week, we have began our all-user training for our timekeeping model. So right now, staff are learning how to clock in and out their workers, how to update workers in the system using, our SOC codes, our new job compensation rates, and then also processing end of the month closeout for timekeeping and working with their local business offices for processing. So we are definitely making some momentum on the project. It began in 2018. COVID was not kind to this project because we were, dealing with operational emergencies throughout the state during that time, and staff and incarcerated, situations at the facilities. So we also fall under OCIO oversight. So also this week, we have an approved budget that is uploaded onto the project board. Super excited and happy about that. And then we are looking at a forecast closeout date, October 2025, the end of October 2025 on the forecasting schedule.
Vicki, what's OCIO?
Office of Chief of Information Officer, yeah, or also known as WATEC.
Yes, this is just a pretty significant project on a multitude of levels. I mean, financially, it is an expensive project, but it's integration with our accounting, with the state AFR system, with all of our manufacturing businesses in terms of data and how they numbers for parts, builds of materials, how to produce a widget, if you will. It changes the incarcerated workers in terms of their daily duties in terms of on the system. It changes the staff duties. So there's a lot of change management components. It's been a focus obviously for quite some time, and you know, it's changing things for staff and the incarcerated. And, you know, part of it is it's a cloud-based system. We are going to have scanning technology. So again, you think of like an Amazon warehouse where they scan in and out inventory and raw materials. That will integrate over the coming next months, that capability. So it'll create real-time data as opposed to archaic manual entry. So it's taking away certain skills from individuals, but it's also adding a whole new wave of new technology that's industry standard. So, you know, from the perspective of the incarcerated workers that work in our shops, it's significant. It impacts, you know, some of their daily work. And so there is, you know, concern of like, well, what is my day gonna look like? And that's a very valid concern because our staff are having those same concerns. And so there's just a lot of training, a lot of mentoring and coaching, all in our normal workday while we're trying to get other work done. So it's pretty significant. Yeah, Todd?
If I might offer to, one of the really exciting things is the capability now for us to be able to see all of our lines of business statewide. You literally have to be currently, or previously, had to be at that area in order to see what was going on there. Now at any time, like I spoke of earlier, we have 5 different locations for textiles. Well, our division manager, he can actually see all 5 of those locations and see where orders are at, where raw materials are at. Do I need to stock balance different areas? And, you know, for outside private industry, well, that's been around for quite a while, but that's mind blowing for us and really exciting. So it's great to, you know, come into current times, and like Jamie said, for our incarcerated individuals as well, to have something that's pertinent to what the real world is doing now. So it's an exciting time. We're really excited about the capabilities as we move forward as the other lines of business come on as well.
Over the next couple of weeks, RF Smart, which is an independent software vendor, she mentioned the scanning. We're going to have a conference room pilot with textiles and the incarcerated here at headquarters. To, like, every product has like a QRC code or a UPC code. This is an actual equipment that you scan the code, it uploads into D365. It's got your workflows for inventory management. You can pick an order, you can receive an order. When you're teaching them new innovation, they get really excited about this, other than pushing paper. So really happy to have that at headquarters. Of course, it's all Wi-Fi based, so you've got some firewall issues and things to work with through WATEC, but that should be happening here at headquarters over the next 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So I'll be happy to report that out next quarter. Yeah.
I will say on that will definitely help with employment into Amazon and warehouses like that, because they are all using that, and when you walk in and don't know how to do it.
Yes.
That will definitely.
Yeah, you have that initial exposure, and because, you know, some of our individuals, they come in, you know, our program, they've been in it for a couple of years, and you know, maybe they've only been, you know, in an institution for a couple of years. Some individuals have been in an institution for much longer, and so, you know, the transition from what technology was like on the outside to post-release can be very life-changing. And so, I mean, you know, our navigator units even talk about, you know, taking individuals in those types of scenarios to what does self-scanning look like? And like, you mean I get to do this myself? Like I get a scan and they're trusting me to do that, right? And it's those types of things that, you know, and we equate that just, it's modern day technology that, again, we're used to, we see it. And in the workplace.
Simply knowing how to answer a phone. To that you don't push the button, that you swipe it.
Yeah, right.
Or what is the power button on a copier?
Yeah. Yep.
I still fight with the U-scans at the grocery store.
I do too. I always need help. Someone always has to come save me.
Right.
Okay, So next, I see Mimi, you're up. So Mimi Jansen, over Workforce Development. We'll turn it over to you, Mimi. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mimi Jansen, and I'm the Brand and Mission Administrator for CI. And I'll be sharing some information on CI's Workforce Development Services, although I think in listening in a meeting, everybody has touched upon everything, like a lot of stuff that we're working on. So that's great. And so I'm actually starting out by sharing a sample list of CI's standard occupational classification, also known as SOC coded positions that are available for CI workers. And as Senator Wilson noted, there's optical lab tech in that list, if you see that. You can probably also notice that there's a lot of positions that provide the in-demand skills, those hard skills, the technical skills that employers are looking for out there that are transferable. And maybe some in there is surprising to see, but I will point out one, which is a prime example of one, a standard occupational classification code or coded position that will be in demand soon. And so that is the sewing machine operator that you see there. So according to the 2023 Market Fact Book of Spokane Metropolitan Data, sewing machine operators along with sellers is actually number 4 on the list of the fastest growing occupations for the Spokane area. So I thought that was very interesting and really glad that we're offering that technical skills for some of our workers. So, next, please. So why did I even bring up those codes and the positions? Well, because our workforce development team is tasked with helping to provide that pathway for CI's incarcerated workers of continuous employment, right, from prison to the community. And so there you can think of them as a bridge that supports by supplementing the skill sets of all the varied and, as you saw, the depth and breadth of skill sets that our incarcerated workers gain inquiring through working for CI. And then our team provides that job readiness support and preparation to then make them employable upon release. And so right now our team consists of one workforce development specialist who supports CI incarcerated workers in Eastern Washington correctional facilities. And we have another one another workforce development specialist assigned to support Western Washington correctional facilities. We have a community employment specialist who supports successful community transitions for releasing CI workers statewide. And we have a workforce development manager. I'm sorry, was there a question? Sorry. Okay. So as a complement to CI staff who mentor and train on these technical skills, our workforce development team provides classroom training on soft skills that I heard was mentioned earlier in the meeting, and to assist individuals with release planning and employment preparation. So, day-to-day tasks could look like anything from helping and working with incarcerated individuals on their resumes to get ready, cover letters, to helping them with mock interviews, prepare for that, to supporting them with certification of proficiency, for instance, in a particular SOC code. And so what that would look like is after 1,500 hours in one job classification per our SOC code positions, an incarcerated individual is eligible for a certificate of proficiency nomination by their supervisor. So let's say our workforce development specialist that is supporting Eastern Washington visits to Washington State Penitentiary, he will bring any of those certificates of proficiencies with him to then give supervisors that will provide them to the individuals. So, next, please. And so I mentioned earlier, one of our team members is a community employment service specialist. And so she is able to provide services actually up to 3 years post-release for CI workers. And so what this looks like is, in order to do that successfully, you have to have community partnerships. It's so key with so many counties, so many communities in Washington State. It's really key to learn, and I think Lindsay mentioned earlier, so folks in Thurston County who are releasing there, where will they be able to go to get wraparound services, for instance? And so making connections there is very important. So important that myself and our workforce development manager is working on that consistently as well. And so some examples of resources that we were able to tap into is like the Pierce County District Court Resource Center that provides information on housing, information on medical assistance, and things like that, or work boots that maybe some of our formerly incarcerated workers need for work. This is also in partnership with what Assistant Secretary Armbruster had mentioned, that there are reentry navigators. So we're working together with them to provide this service. And so that's connections to local and regional employers who are really seeking workers and trying to connect them with our formerly incarcerated workers. And then basic community resources that are already existing, like plugging in with them, like WorkSource throughout the state, Urban League in Seattle, King and Pierce County, and the Kingdom Gathering Outreach. So those are examples of that. Next, please. And so this all helps you understand why workforce development kind of embodies the mission of CI, as Jamie had mentioned earlier, because really their success, so formerly incarcerated workers, their success is our success, right? This is what we're really working hard towards. And as you can see, Workforce Development Services' primary goal is to help them get there, to be successful in their reentry into the community. And so this slide captures some facts at a glance for our fiscal year 2023. And that's, again, pointing out like our community employment services had helped 517 participants. And as you can see, like the highest wage for fiscal year 2023 of a formerly incarcerated worker out in the community is $64 an hour, more than living wage, which is wonderful and what we are aiming to do. And then CES employment rate is 83%, which is fantastic. Next slide, please. So, really, what is the impact of CI programs? All CI employees and staff have a direct impact on incarcerated workers by imparting the technical skills that was already mentioned, and then also the social skills that was alluded to. And this happens throughout the workday. And so we always like to say the technical skills actually help the individual secure a job, while the social skills helps them keep the job and to advance professionally and financially. And so not only do CI employees serve as workplace role models and help them build their self-confidence and, of course, instill these positive work behaviors, but our team, again, enhances those services that are happening already day to day with things like classroom training. And that includes really serving our incarcerated workers with helping them with attributes that employers find valuable. So it's not only those technical skills that you see there, which are really great, but also the social skills that I think everyone in here understands about, right? The adaptability to be able to be efficiently self-managing yourself. And so one of the ways we do this is that this is covered through a classroom training program called Making It Work. Making It Work was specifically designed to help incarcerated individuals make that transition into the community successfully and into the, you see me doing this quote marks, the real world of work. And so Making It Work objectives includes, understanding negative thinking traps that make it easy to act impulsively or even illegally, recognizing and managing emotions before they get out of control, resolving workplace problems logically instead of impulsively, being able to take constructive criticism and more professional ways. So those are kind of a little bit of what's being taught in that class, and would address the social skills part. So learning. Next, please. And everybody, I think, kind of talked about this already. So thank you, Assistant Secretary Arbuster, because she already said what I was going to say. This is a joint effort between CI and education. But really, TRAC, as a trades-related apprenticeship coaching, is a 16-week training course that prepares incarcerated individuals for competitive entry into a union apprenticeship. But along with that, they're also, being taught self-esteem and job skills that are necessary to make this a lifelong career and earning, really high wages and living wage at the least. And of course, this then helps them prosper, right, as a productive citizen. So the Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee, that's AJAC Manufacturing Academy, is also very helpful with that by providing a 10-week registered pre-apprenticeship training program. And this offers a solid foundational career pathway into aerospace and actually advanced manufacturing apprenticeship opportunities. I happen to know that AJAC has over 230 employer partners with them. And so that's a lot across the state. And so they actually help graduates after graduates of Manufacturing Academy with that pathway to a job that's local to where they're releasing to. Actually, and then we also have the Flagger certification classes that are offered as well, which is much needed. I believe in several industries, including agency ones. So like WisDOT. Next, please. And so really excited to talk about mock interviews. We hadn't had that opportunity for incarcerated workers for nearly 5 years. So we just held our first one for this year, March 12th and 13th at CI headquarters. There were 10 employers and community partners who participated from Thurston, King, and Pierce County, along with 14 individuals. And so really mock interviews serve as a culmination of a job readiness foundation that is provided by our workforce development team. And so this follows support through a job hunter series that is actually put on by Employment Security Department. But this is, learning support on like strategies and techniques about how to write a resume, that cover letter, filling out that job application, how you go about looking for a job, and then reviewing interviewing strategies that help them, right, when they're out doing interviews. And so the ones that were held in March were no exception. It was pretty cool to see how incarcerated individuals were able to practice and fine-tune their interviewing skills. But it also offered the community volunteers kind of a really positive, informative, and I would say enlightening experience too, to be involved with mock interviews. A lot of them had said, please ask us to come back again when you do that. So that's really great to hear from them. But, when you think about not only preparing the incarcerated individuals with the Job Hunter series, but, talking to them about appearances. And so as you can see in this photo, we have an incarcerated individual who is dressed in dress shirt and tie. Oh, no, not in this case. I think he only had the dress shirt, but providing them that really gives them a boost and helps with their self-esteem. And in addition to helping them prepare for the event. And so I want to share because I can tell you how great this is for hours and hours, but I'm actually going to share a thank you note from one of the incarcerated individuals who participated. And he said, even with some time left on my sentence and a fair amount of nervous tension, being able to apply the skills I learned in the class in a real life type of setting and to get positive input from professionals and real employers truly left me feeling accomplished. This class has the ability to help us get over one of the biggest hurdles we face upon release, employment. Thank you all for caring about our future success. And that is from, like I said, participating individual in the March 12th mock interview events. We are really excited to look forward to ones that we will be holding at Airway Heights in June. And we have plans to add at least one more this year in Western Washington and Eastern Washington. And of course, our aim is to really provide at least one mock interview event annually per facility statewide. Next, please. Excuse me, I need to. Sorry, Bryce, out of Kleenex. And also exciting is we have a financial literacy course that's coming, and it's actually, I believe it's April 10th is our first class that will be held at CI headquarters. A list was, a sign-up list was provided just a couple days ago, and within hours, 6 incarcerated individuals signed up. So that's super exciting. They understand what this means. You know, this course will cover specific reentry needs, such as, you know, cash flow, budgeting week by week, a spending tracker, income benefits tracker, building your savings becomes really important. Dealing with debt is really huge for those who are releasing. And then, of course, like understanding credit reports and scores. I mean, there's a lot more to this course, but we're very excited to be offering it starting in April. Next, please. And so if anyone here has questions, you are free to contact us. We can welcome us too. Welcome to contact us with any of the questions. Steve Peterman, who is not here today, but he is a construction trades manager. So if you have kind of track AJAC specific questions, you can direct questions to him. And of course, there's myself and then our workforce development manager, Karen Tarver. But I'm not sure, Jamie, how are we doing on time? Do we have time?
Yeah, we're great. We're doing great on time. Thanks, Mimi.
For questions or?
Yeah. Senator Wilson?
I'm just full of questions today, so I appreciate that. You know, I'm really appreciative of the workforce development, and I just had a question and a wonder, and that's, you know, as you talked about the mock interviews and such, those are things that are kind of at the end of process and when someone's kind of planning to release, which is so important. And I'm just wondering, has there been any opportunity pre-release as an individual is in program to have opportunity to meet with potential employers so that relationships are beginning before they leave the institution as opposed to after they've left and then are in search of? And I know folks scatter, if you will, when they're released. So it isn't that they always go to one place, but just curious with some of our larger employers and those that tend to be really supportive of employing formerly incarcerated individuals, whether that's anything we've been able to do as we think about helping people, motivating people to the end, and really just creating some of those things so they don't fall to the wayside as somebody is releasing. So just a curious wonder.
I believe Karen is ready to answer that question. Thank you, Karen.
Yes, good morning. Yes, we have. We've been able to coordinate using Teams with employers to do a soft meet with incarcerated individuals getting ready to be released that meet the skills that that particular employer is looking for. So I will say probably in the last 6 months, we've been able to do at least 7 of those so far. So it is something we are currently doing.
Thanks. And I was also curious again, not just those that are almost ready to release, but as we think about what it takes to keep sustained motivation, how is it that we're creating those kinds of opportunities? And I know it's a balance always, but always trying to figure out, you know, for every unit of change for an individual, what kind of support are we giving them inside to continue to feel like they can do this. And I think sometimes just having those connections and knowing there's potentially something waiting for me on the other side that will bring about the reason why I need to have financial literacy, that will bring about the reason why it is I need to, you know, get up every day and do the job. So always trying to figure out how we can continue to support that. And I think I'll just speak for myself, but I know there's a want to make sure that individuals are releasing with everything they need to be successful, because that's not necessarily been there before. And so it's also our duty to help figure that part out for you, which I think oftentimes you've been resource poor and been doing the best you can with what you have, but also how is it that we help that relationship piece, and that that is so critically important as we think about success and those very soft skills that y'all have been talking about. So thanks so much. And I really appreciate everything y'all are doing.
Thank you. So to answer a little bit on that real quick. So what I do is at least 2-3 times a week, I will go through the different search engines, whether it be worksource.com, Indeed, LinkedIn, and I'll look at jobs in different counties that our incarcerated individuals qualify for, have those skills, and print them out and share with them. These are the jobs that are available. These are the wages. These are the benefits that they offer, and these are the things that they're looking for. So I do keep them updated constantly on what's out there. So it keeps them motivated to keep learning, to keep learning about their trade, that the program that they're currently in, to be more motivated to take the classes, because they know that there are good paying jobs out there, not minimum wage, not just, I hate to say it, Jack in the Box, but there are, warehouse jobs, distribution companies, that their skills, they're screaming for them. So it gets them excited. So when they see me walk around showing them, they're very excited to see it.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. That's really super supportive, and I appreciate your sentiment. And I know everyone in this room, all the leadership is like 110% for that of what you're speaking about. So we really appreciate your support. And if there's anything that comes about, please let us know how you're able to help, or if you think of other things. We're always ready to listen to any suggestions or improvements. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Unless there's more questions. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I want to notate in the minutes, it's 10:25, which is our open public forum. So I just want to pause the meeting real quick and see if there's anybody from the general public that wants to address the committee. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so please notate that we had nobody from the public today. So maybe I'll turn it back over to you and see if there's any other questions from anybody about workforce development.
Sounds great.
I have a question. This is Lauren Taylor. How many people are you actually working with that you do the job searches for and stuff?
I know that varies, Karen. I don't know if you have a more concrete number, but it varies, right? From
it does vary. I don't have
facility.
A concrete number, yeah, because we work at so many different facilities as well as here at the warehouse.
I would say they run up several hundred, maybe.
Yeah, and I think
At
on the
least.
slide, like Janet, our community employment specialist, has a caseload of about 517 individuals that she was working with.
A year.
And within the year. So that's, that's a pretty significant caseload for.
And just in relation to the number that are released by the agency every year,
There's around 6,000 individuals that give or take that are released every single year. I think for last year it was 6,300. But remember, this is only specific to CI.
Right, and that's why I'm looking at the proportionality of, how many actually get that help, with the others who don't.
Right.
One of the things that we're looking at is what are best practices so we don't have workforce development within the other side of the navigation group. While they help, right? I'm looking to Lily because she would probably have more information on this, that the navigators do help with employment and, all the services that bank accounts, going to a grocery store, all of those things. The difficulty is we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the staffing to do it for every single individual. Right now, the reentry navigators are focused on individuals that are partial confinement. So individuals that are going out to reentry centers, graduated reentry, or the community parenting alternative. And then we have the CI component that focuses on individuals that are participating through CI. I don't know, Lily,
Are these only
class 2 job that
Yes.
they're working with.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just that population.
Just CI.
It's like, and then you have the group that are going to community custody and you have their set of TRS specialists and what you can do with that linkage. But there's also the piece of like, how can you, I mean, these communities are pretty well linked on the community side of things that are doing this work with other reentry providers, community service organizations, government organizations. Under the counties are pretty organized within the specialty. And something we've done in the past that has been really helpful is those in custody job fairs where the employers come and make the linkages. And when you're talking about a specific skill set population like the class 2 industries, it seems like you could cater that kind of event to those groups.
When's the last time we did that, Lily? Do you remember?
Well, I was not here for the COVID year, so it was pre-COVID, but at that time, like in Monroe and the camp there, it was like a quarterly basis at least that we're having in custody service fairs.
Because I know Stafford did the same thing,
Yeah.
but I'm just looking at the big picture of, you know, how do you, and she said, having to go resource each county. And with where I'm heading on what I'm trying to structure is how do we make the county be, so it's just when here's somebody coming to your county be responsible because you're gonna have them come back.
Because the difficulty is the department can't do everything. Sorry, Mimi. The department can't do everything. Like we depend on community resources. We depend on nonprofit organizations to help us and then other state agencies to help us with wraparound services.
Well, you know, my conversation has been that it's the county court that sends the individual to prison. And then that individual returns to that county. So in some ways, what happens while they're with the Department of Corrections is one thing, but the county there should be a way that it's a central resource. And it falls almost under that Law and Justice Council that was there to oversee the county of origin situation that was created back in 2007. So to be able to make it that way where you have just one place to go and the work source people don't have to, or work development people don't have to be, you know, trying to search for it. It should be there in the county for everybody.
I agree. And that's what the CPP, I'm not going to say it right, but the community.
Sort of the community partnerships.
The community community partnership councils that help, like kind of bring those.
Oh, CPTS, yeah.
Yeah, CPTS, bring the groups together. Mimi, I cut you off. I apologize.
Oh no, you actually said that beautifully, and the community partners are key. I understand what you're saying because you're just saying why can't the counties be more responsive to when this happens? And I will say, as far as all the individuals that are releasing, not only CI, I know that like the number one, right, county they released to is King County. And then number 2 is Pierce County. Number 3 is Spokane area. King County has a really comprehensive system, I would say, of resources and community partners who work on that. And you guys just mentioned the Pierce County one. But we really wish, like you, that there were more of that out there. But as Assistant Secretary Arbor just said, like we're trying the best we can. She already mentioned like we don't have a reentry navigator for every single individual, and you recognize that too. And we just appreciate that that if there's any way you can advocate and support us, I think that'd be great. It looks like somebody has David.
Yeah, so I'm new to the board, used to work for the Department of Corrections. I'm kind of absorbing it all in. Been on a number of boards, so that's kind of always my first day practice is to try to listen in. And this county of origin, I was with the Department of Corrections in 2007, so I remember the county of origin thing going into place. And so I'm kind of like reminiscing and trying to understand a little bit to the question, and is some of this work that we're putting into the people releasing and their skills development and their technical development, are they being targeted to the county of release, and what that economy looks like? Like Spokane economy in Seattle economy and Pierce County economy, they're all very different with some similarity. And so is it being targeted to their county of release, I guess? And correctional industries was something that I didn't really have a lot of exposure to in my time with the Department of Corrections. So this is a great learning opportunity for me. So this is just kind of a genuine question of like, how are you looking at that issue and trying to focus it into the release planning or the workforce development planning, I guess?
I know that, for instance, our community employment specialist, Janet, works with the DOC counselors on the release planning. Karen, do you have any more details on that? Because I do know that when she works directly with them, they look at what counties they're released out to, and then there's more specific steps that they take.
When she does a release plan with each individual, CI individual, yes, she does look at that per count, the county that they're releasing to. So she does do that in her employment planning with them.
So
but
it's
beyond
really,
that, I'm not sure.
I think it's really important though, like to your question, Dave, to really look at making more and more connections to other counties that are not as strong, right, in receiving individuals. So we're trying to make a conscious effort to do more outreach there to find the resources that we need. And so, for instance, myself and Karen will be going out to Kitsap County soon to try to make those connections for Janet to be able to include in her release planning with individuals. So, Terry.
Hi, I just, this is maybe more of a comment with a little bit of a question, and I know that I've raised this question before in my years of service with this group, but I really see this as a tremendous opportunity to network because I am in Spokane County, I'm in Eastern Washington. I see this as a tremendous opportunity to not reinvent the wheel, but to build closer alignment and to connect with organizations like mine. So an example would be last week we had a gentleman, he's formerly incarcerated, came in. He was able to, by coming to Partners Inland Northwest, he was able to access Catholic Charities housing upstairs, access SNAP, which is a neighborhood action program. So helping to pay bills as he's trying to figure out budgets and what it means to be on this side of the bars and re-entering into his community. In addition to that, it was okay, he's got children, so we have a clothing bank free of charge. He accessed food, you know, diapers, all of those types of things. So I do think we have an awful lot of work, and I'm willing to help do this on the east side of the state to start connecting some of these significant resources. And I do also believe that there are significant sponsorship and or support dollars from Eastern Washington businesses that would go in to offset some of those expenses as they relate to community navigators and helping formerly incarcerated individuals connect the dots with the resources that are available to them. And so I'm speaking specifically with regard to, you know, Spokane County and the east side of, you know, the state, but knowing what I know about the nonprofit resources available statewide and even, you know, over into Idaho, Oregon, Montana, I mean, there are lots and lots, there's thousands and thousands of nonprofit organizations that are ready, willing, and able to help facilitate some of the needs of these formerly incarcerated individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I know that at some point you're joining us for mock interviews at Airway Heights. So
I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's an
it
honor.
might be worth it to just kind of meet together and talk about what that looks like too with our specialist out there, Rob Torno. So
Yeah,
let's look at that.
I'm more than happy to help however I can. I mean, it's really just about the conversation first, how we communicate, and then the connections. And so I'm willing, you know, I'm a lifer over here, so I'm more than happy to help, you know, connect the dots however I can with the nonprofit sector.
That sounds terrific. Thank you. Looks like Senator Wilson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm just so important to talk about what you're doing related to the navigators and reentry. And I've had a couple bills the last couple years around reentry services for individuals and everyone releasing with a transition plan and anyone within a year's release. And unfortunately, as you said, the cost of that was such where the governor vetoed that little sliver of the bill, but we'll continue to work toward that as a goal. And I think, again, you navigate from the inside out and from the outside in, and it's got to be a bridge. And so the conversation that just was had is so critically important as we think about how we utilize our CBOs and nonprofits coming into our institutions again, so that it's a relational transition and not just a transactional transition. And I think that's why in my mind, everything I'm talking about is creating those relationships pre-release, because it's so critically important that one feels like they know where they're going. And so again, just continue to do the work you're doing and want to continue to partner to make sure we've got those resources available, especially in the reentry space when, you know, the world doesn't understand that, you know, less than 20% of folks really do release with a plan, and the majority of folks don't have a plan. So just again, appreciative and willing to do anything that we need to do to make sure we help create success for folks.
Thank you very much.
Mimi, this is Danielle. I just want to go back to Dave's comment about county of origin and really the restrictive nature of that law back in the early 2000s. We were fortunate to have that change so that we have more flexibility for individuals as far as their plan. So as long as we have organized support and support in the community for those individuals, we're able for that individual to release not to their county of origin, but to a county that has more wraparound services for them.
Thank you, Assistant. Yeah, Dave, sorry, you had another comment.
Yeah, so I mean, that's wonderful to hear. I remember the county of origin being kind of a hot topic during that period of time. So I'm glad to hear that there's more flexibility around it. And so as a part of that flexibility, does the correctional industries, do they have the ability to look at counties and what their employment market needs are? Like somebody said that in Eastern Washington, there's a high demand in sewing. Like, is there a way to kind of like target what the employment needs are in certain counties and then plan the release to that? So is that kind of flexibility available to it?
I believe it has to be, just from working with our team, because our team supports statewide, correct? And so, for instance, we are partners with the Greater Spokane Inc. there, whose employers, right, line up with a lot of the skills that our incarcerated workers who are releasing will have. And so it's connecting and building those relationships. I think exactly the way Terry was talking about that is key to us being able to help as many of the releasing incarcerated individuals as they transition into the community, because there's actually a lot of needs that they have in addition to employment. And so there are, like Terry said, there are existing networks and resources that are there, and it's just a matter of being able to connect with them. And so, yes, Dave, we mindfully look at that and look at communities. I believe there was, in fact, there's an individual is releasing to Asotin County, which is, I've never heard of them before that. And so like, even looking there, you know, things like that, we have to look ahead of time and be able to connect to resources that exist in the community they are. And then it's, as Danielle had mentioned, how they work hard to make sure that they get released to places where there is services for them to connect to is pretty key too. I think between all of our efforts, we're trying hard to be able to fulfill that, if that makes sense. Dave, sorry, did I answer, your question?
Yeah, I you know, it sounds like this is you know, it's still in development, right? You're looking at what the problems are, and you're trying to come up with solutions. And so, like I said, I'm kind of relearning this language as I'm sitting here and listening to it. So
No, that's great.
I appreciate the just the thought that you're putting into the answers. So yeah.
Oh, no,
Thank you.
we appreciate your observations, Dave, because, you know, we can sit in this in our own kind of silo sometimes, and hearing from other people is super helpful. So thank you.
So this is Ryan, and I just, you know, I think ourselves, all of us here, our staff, we're sometimes the best advertisers for the program and what we do in the community. You know, I live down in Grace Harbor, and just about everyone I talk to is very surprised that we have a furniture factory down there, and the skills that are being taught, and how the program is available. And so more than a handful of times I've gone by Karen and said, hey, you know, I ran into somebody at self-checkout at Walmart, and you know, and struck up a conversation and found out that they work at this company, and I asked them if they ever employ, you know, individuals released in the community, and here's a business card I got for them, right? And so, you know, the Workforce Development Group is a little group that does a lot, and I always feel the best way we can support them is by being that additional outreach for them as they build that portfolio of employers or people that want to learn more about what we do and who our individuals are and what skills that they're learning to really fulfill the needs that they have for employment. So Karen's probably going to throw something at me in the hallway for this, but I do encourage all of us, and I encourage our staff to tell our story and to share those successes and the opportunities that employers can have to have individuals that come in with a learned skill set, that are hungry for success, that are going to show up every day, that have gained those soft skills. So Karen, don't hit me. So share the story, get Karen's information to them, allow her to do what she does best, which is really sell the services that we provide and the great individuals that we have that can help these companies be successful. Thank you.
It's so good to know we're not alone too. See, Dave, so we have all of CI supporting us. We have Danielle, who's amazing, supporting us like fully and always asking how she can support. So that I think makes us fortunate, and that everybody feels that way and is like so all in supporting, like advocating even out in their own communities. So we don't feel alone like that. And I'll speak for Karen, don't do anything for anything. Because I think he's really trying to help, and so are other CI staff. So I really greatly appreciate hearing from everybody here, because you never know, right? How any of this kind of lands with anybody, and to hear to support is really heartwarming for me. Trying to lead some efforts with our team, and so I just want to say that to the group, that it's great to hear from everybody this morning.
Thank you, Mimi. So we do have about 10 minutes left in our meeting, and so I just so appreciate the conversation that we've been able to have throughout today's meeting, but just wanted to open up and see if there was any other questions or topics from anybody on the advisory committee.
I'm going to jump in then really quickly, just because I can't stand silence. So if you work with me.
8 seconds, you're supposed to count.
Oh yeah, 8 seconds. I just appreciate the conversation and the feedback. And we sit in these meetings sometimes, and it's us just kind of delving out information to all of you, but appreciate the comments, appreciate the feedback, appreciate the questions. We are not, you know, the best of the best, right? We try to be, but we're always looking for opportunities to improve and opportunities to have partnerships in the community and to have partnerships with local businesses. And so I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate, you know, even if you have tough questions, we want those. We want to continue to improve. And at the end of the day, make sure that we are the best advocate and support for the incarcerated population. And so know that, you know, with the limited resources that we have, we try and spread those as thin as we can to make sure that we support as many individuals. So thank you for the comments, the questions, and your support. We couldn't do it without you. Carrie?
just took a couple notes during the course of the meeting, so bear with me. The first is that I have to tell you, I am so impressed by what the Department of Corrections has been able to achieve with regard to streamlining the multitude of advisory committees and boards and all of these different agency associated groups that you work with. I feel as though these CI advisory board meetings have become a whole lot more efficient and really meaningful, and have allowed those of us who are outsiders to maybe take a little bit of a more conscientious deep dive into what the true issues are that are facing the incarcerated individuals and those who are looking to reenter our communities. So thank you. I know it's been a little bit of a labor of love for many of you, and just I wanted you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed. With regard to if there are resources that you can send to us as committee members that would maybe allow us to make connections in your behalf in our communities with regard to the reentry and to the workforce development and to the, the soft skills and all those support mechanisms, the wraparound services. If you have kind of a roster or those groups that you work with that you would allow for those of us who are willing to make additional connections in your behalf, would you share that with us?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like for some of us, I feel like we, I'm out and about all the time. And so I like to think that I talk about my role with, the CI advisory committee, but I'm somewhat remiss. And so I think that just having that in my arsenal will help remind me too, when I'm out doing community events and I'm a table, as Partners in the Northwest, that I also wear a different hat as a volunteer. I would really appreciate that opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that feedback. And yes, we'll definitely be in touch with that. Okay. Any other last minute thoughts?
Just kind of circling back to something we talked about at a previous meeting. It would also be helpful for me as an advisory committee member to get out to the other facilities. And we talked about having these meetings kind of 1 or 2 a year in different locations. So I would just like to put that back on the radar and make sure that, because I would benefit from seeing some of the other programs that I'm not familiar with.
Perfect, yeah. And we can certainly look to schedule, a meeting at a facility. Sometimes the logistics based on room availability can be challenging, but we can definitely look to get that scheduled in the future. Outside of that, the offer still always stands. We'd love to get you to an institution and take you on a one-on-one tour. I'm thinking over here, Stafford Creek. I don't think you've been there yet, for the furniture factory. And so we can certainly work. I know we've worked offline individually. I know Terry in the past has toured our CI operations at Airway Heights. I know Dr. Lutz has reached out to reacclimate herself to a couple of the institutions. So we can certainly connect after this meeting. We don't have to wait until the next one to get something scheduled that works with your schedule.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We can't have meetings inside a facility due to the Open Meetings Act. So we can have it like near a facility, like we've been at fire stations before or other things, but it has to be accessible to the public.
Got it. Makes sense.
Perfect. So with that, we'll notate in the minutes that we will adjourn the meeting. It is now 10:53. And I just, again, appreciate the conversation and everybody being here today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Thanks.
On a good time to visit Stafford Creek.
Where it's not.
I was trying to get that going here.
I'm thinking, come on.
It's also